get some analysis right now. Charlie Hurt, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend. Charlie, good morning to you. Nice to see you. I thought the last clip was interesting. He blamed loyalty or the lack of it, and he also said the party melted down. That's his view, defending his father. How'd you hear it?
Well, he's not wrong about that, of course. Voters did abandon his father. Loyalty wasn't enough for them to remain loyal to him or to stick with him politically after, 4 years of what they had been through because of the policies of the Biden administration, whether it's open borders or skyrocketing grocery bills and gas prices and unrest around the world. I think people were expecting something different. And of course, people, operatives within the Democrat Party also were seeing the same stuff and hearing from their voters and realizing that the policies that the Biden administration were pushing were not working for their constituents. And so, they lost loyalty. They weren't going to stick with him amid all of the heartache and hardship that the Biden administration policies put onto regular voters.
Okay, and so in mid-July, we're trying to follow what the House is trying to do in terms of getting answers from those who were closest to Jill and Joe Biden. The doctor pled the fifth a week ago. Here's Anthony Bernal, chief of staff, in his appearance yesterday.
Did you ever advise President Joe Biden to pardon his son, Hunter Biden?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Was President Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question.
Mr. Bernal, did President Joe Biden ever instruct you to lie regarding his health?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question.
Okay, so that's how it went. Now they're 0 for 2. And James Comer says they might be calling family members next. I don't know if that's a good idea. Here he is yesterday in the hall.
Now we're moving up to the people that we think told the staffers to use the auto pen. So we'll see where that takes us. But I think the possibility is very good that we'll be asking members of the family to come in and talk.
That could be Hunter Biden. That could be Jill Biden, the former first lady. Hugh Hewitt last hour argued that's a bad look to call him the first lady. Do you see it that way? And do you see Comer's investigation getting anywhere?
Yeah, it is a uncharted territory, obviously, and it is a tough situation for Republicans because obviously you want to get to the bottom of what happened. And if the president wasn't, in fact, the person that the American people elected to be president was not, in fact, making the decisions and someone else was, you need to get to the bottom of that, and we need to figure out who was. The problem is, and I agree, actually, that calling the former First Lady into congressional hearings is a pretty dicey situation. I think it does probably end up looking bad for Republicans. But at some point, you have to get the answers to these questions. And the sudden mass amnesia that we're seeing from all of these administration officials, I think I think we're going to see a lot more of that. But I think that you can sort of go at them a whole lot harder, or as hard as continue investigating, dig as much as you can, and get as much as you can from those actors. But obviously, when you get into the president's family, it becomes a political issue. And also, Republicans have a great agenda, a future, looking forward that they need to present to the people.
Don't forget to talk about it, is what you're saying, right, about the future. Thank you, Charlie. Nice to see you. We'll talk soon, okay? Charlie Hurt.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. See you later.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.